Hi guys, welcome back. So just a quick little thing that I just kind of noticed as I was getting ready to change the video or do the next video is that I just want to add an additional class in so that these cards, when they're on a small screen size, no, I don't want to add that in. That's actually just made it worse. Forget everything I just said. I could pause and go back and record this again, but I'm not going to. So let's get started on the next bit. So, final bit of our web page now is just we're going to add this bit at the bottom. We're going to talk about how to link these to our actual social media pages, and then we're going to just do the styling for this top bit, and then we are done. So, with no further ado, let's get going. Cool. I want to add this footer in, and so the class that I'm going to use for this is actually just going to be the footer class that comes kind of as part of the bootstrap. So once again, I'm going to start by putting a container in, and let's good practice, remember. So this is going to be footer section. Okay, now I'm going to do it. So I'm going to start by putting in a container, and inside that container, I'm going to put in a row. But I'm going to add some additional classes, and one of them is going to be footer, and one of them is going to be text center. So again, this is a bootstrap class, the footer one, that's going to add some of the styling and functionality to our footer that we have. So within my row, I still need to use a column. So I'm going to say col MD12 is going to be the class, and I'm going to add an ID called contact so that I can add some styling kind of on a contact level. And I'm also going to add an ID here called footer. Okay, so next thing we want to do is I'm going to add some bold tags and also some line breaks, and I'll kind of talk you through all of this as I'm doing it, but it's just so that you can see how I created the effect I have, which is where we've got kind of, follow the links below, and then we've got contact info, and this is actually all one line, and I've just kind of used some paragraph tags and some break line points and stuff. I just want to kind of demo how you could do some of this stuff. So I'm going to start with a paragraph tag, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, so follow, what is that? Where are my letters? Follow the links below to view my socials. And then I'm going to do a couple of line breaks. You can do more than one in a row, by the way, guys. And then I'm going to use the strong tag, which just automatically adds some bold styling. So, you can, obviously, I could have put this in a span tag and I could have styled that, but I'm just keeping this really simple for myself, to be honest. And I'm going to use the strong tag, which is already built in. Okay, cool. So obviously we can't see much happening right now, but we're going to get there. And in fact, I'm also just going to stick a line break at the front here, and it just saves me having to add additional margins within my actual footer. Now, just so that we can kind of start seeing this come together, I'm straight away going to come in and I'm going to give this whole footer section some background color, just so that we can see it starting to come together. And the background color is going to be our royal blue. Okay, cool. So as you can see, there's that little bit of space above my paragraph tag. And while we're here, let's give a margin, and we'll say the margin top is going to be, well, let's say 100 pixels. I feel like it needs a little bit more space being the footer. Yes. Okay, this is starting to come together really nicely. The next thing I'm going to do is I want to have some of those font awesome icons, but this time they're not just going to be there, they're going to actually take me somewhere. And so I need to use an anchor tag, which is a link. It allows us to add hyperlinks in. And the hyperlinks come from here where we have a href. So let's say, for example, that I decide I want to use the Instagram object. So remember that if I wanted to do that, we would come over here, we'd go to our font awesome, and then we would get the Instagram tag. And I'm just showing you this again, just in case you kind of forgotten how it works. And I'm going to go for this one. I'm going to go for the slightly bigger, and I'll go for the 5. Start using this icon. I want to copy this. And then I'm just going to reduce this back down and come off of there for a second. And I'm going to add this inside of the anchor tag. So this is quite important, guys. It must go inside the anchor tag. And what that means is if you click on this item, which we're going to have to style and change in a second, it will take wherever I put in here. Now I'm not going to put my actual Instagram because frankly my Instagram's very boring anyway. So, but we'll just say that this is going to take us to www.instagram.com, and then you can just see whoever's Instagram you want to see. And cool, providing that I've not typed this incorrectly, when I click on this, it should take me across to Instagram. I might have to just double check that it doesn't. It probably has a backslash at the end there as well. Anyways, we'll get that. We'll check that in a second. It might be because I'm in live mode, which is why I think it's not working. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is show you how to do your email. And this is a really, really simple thing to do. And again, we're going to use the Font Awesome class. And I actually already have one, which I really like, which is the envelope one. And so I'm going to copy this in here. So it's FA envelope. And it looks just like this little thing, which I know is really diddy on your screen right now, but it will look bigger in a second. And then all you have to do is you have to just say mail to, and then you just say what your email address is. So for example, I'm going to give you a fake email and say it's like Shafi3000, and well, that's more than 3000, at gmail.com. This is not my email address, by the way, guys, so don't email this email. And what happens then when you click the mail is it will, and you guys didn't really see that happening, but it has actually launched my email provider on my other screen, and it will say and it will just open whichever your default email is and allow you to just send an email straight away. Okay. Cool. And then the last thing that I want to do is I want to put this socket. And again, this is a class provided, this HR, which provides a natural kind of line break between sections. So we kind of scroll in a little bit, we'll be able to see that a bit better. It's this line here. But if you use the one used by Bootstrap, it just provides a little bit of built-in styling. And so underneath this section here, I'm going to be putting in a HR, and its class is going to be socket. So now we've got that nice little line, socket. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in like a little bit. So, website built by me, if I can spell my own name. And then I'm also going to put in a thing to my GitHub. So again, I'm going to want to put that inside of an anchor tag. And in here, I'm going to put the I class. So it's my I tag. And the class for this one is FA. And you get so used to these once you've used them a few times. FAB, FA GitHub. I've used them so many times, I know most of them off by heart because I only generally use the same ones again. Okay, and then we've got this bit here. And then the last thing that I want to do is just add this little kind of copy logo thing, which is just, again, it's a really nice thing that's already built in. And this actually goes outside of my anchor tag, and it's just you do copy like this. And that gives you that little C at the bottom there. And then I just put like Shafi CS. So, and then that's just done this little bit here. So it's just a nice little bit. There's a few links here. Obviously, if I was going to put this in here, I could put my GitHub in here. And so let's actually just do that. Actually, let's go to GitHub. And this is not the one that I want. I want to go to my GitHub. So I'm going to go to Shafi3000. And I'm going to, while I'm on my profile, I'm going to get the link here and make sure that I put this in straight. I'm going to put this in here, and I think this hopefully should work. We'll see, because we know that's definitely right. So now I'll see if I was right about the fact that it's because I'm on a live server. No, I put Instagram in wrong. That's why it didn't work. So we can see that did work. And so let's go to Instagram, and let's go to, yeah, okay, whatever. There's not so many exciting things happening on my Instagram. I'm probably going to change this in a second as I put it into the website. I'm like, definitely not. Oh, why did Instagram not work? Can anyone else see why Instagram didn't work? I forgot to take the hash out. Okay, so actually I don't need to change this, and hopefully now Instagram should work. There we go. And it takes us to the Instagram page. Nice. So that's all working. The email, although that's a fake email, is working. Obviously, Sheffield 3000 is a username I use, but I don't have a Gmail account with that name. So please don't email them. It probably doesn't exist. I hope it doesn't exist. Nice. All right. Last thing is just add some styling. So let's just get this and our nav bar looking good. And then we're all good to go. So we gave this section an idea of contact, and that's going to allow me to style that particular bit. So I'm going to say where I have the contact section, I want to start by just changing all of the font to white. Cool. But separately, I need to do something to access. So contact, and then remember we had this SVG inline, and so I always scroll up and just get it from up above. And so I'm actually going to copy this whole bit of code. I'm going to copy it down here, and then I'm just going to format it here. So I'm going to say, instead of this, this is now going to be for contact, and then this is going to be for contact. And you can see there's definitely some changes that I want to do. I do not want it this big. That looks a little bit too much. So I'm going to change this to 1.8 rem. And I'm actually going to change this so that when we hover over it, it changes to, actually, no, orange was the right color. So I was going to change it to royal blue, but then it would have gone invisible. But normally I want this to be white. And I want it to be like 2 rem, I think. Yeah, and this is definitely still too big. Let's make it, let's do 1.7 rem. Yeah, I like that better. 1.7. That was just too big. It's the margin as well. There's some really big margin around here, and I just want a little margin just so that they're not literally on top of each other, but 2 pixels is more than enough. All right then, so that's that bit done. So there's other stuff I could do if I wanted to, but I'm quite happy with that looking as it does right now. Now the only last thing to do is to do something about our nav bar, which is currently not looking awesome. It's not the way that we want it to look, and so we're going to come up here and we're going to start styling this. So I'm going to do this at the top where you would expect to find the code, and I'm going to literally put it at the very, very top. And this is going to be navbar, so that when I want to come back and make changes, I know where to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the background color to this to white. Let's actually call it. So this is called the navbar, and that's the class assigned to it. So I'm going to say that this is going to be a background color of white. And then I'm also going to change the individual items. And the way that we have to access these is we have to say within the nav bar, find me the list items and then go to the anchor tags. So if we actually look at the code for the navigation bar, this makes sense because I've gone to a nav bar, which is, up here somewhere, nav bar. And then I've got these list items, and inside my list item, that's where I see the word that I want to access. So that really helps to say, okay, wherever I see that, wherever the A class is, that's the text I need to access. The list item on its own, changing that won't help. So it's useful to come here and like logically work your way down here. So I'm going to say that I want the color of these to be royal blue. I want the font size to be about 1.2 rem. I would like the letter spacing to be around 1 pixel. Interestingly, it's not changing the colors of my nav bar. So just bear with me 1 second and I'll see, I guess, why it's not doing that. Am I on the right page? Yep, this is definitely the one that I want to be updating. Okay, bear with me 1 second. Nav bar list item A, I've not missed anything. In fact, it hasn't even done this, hasn't changed that bit. So, oh, it's because I need to take this background class off because it's basically sort of taking that font settings, I guess, and I want to take this bit off. There we go. Now it's gone white, and we can also see that it's turned it blue. So what did I just do? It's important to just explain this. So this particular code that I just deleted out already existed. So where is that just? That's so weird. I wanted to choose that. So navbar light and navbar background light are styling that's automatically provided by the CSS style sheet. the bootstrap style sheet, sorry. So that means that basically while these classes are in there, if I wanted to change it, I think I would have to put important for each one of these, which obviously, is going to be a little bit long-winded to do, but it does work. It's able to override the original styling that's been provided. And that's one way of doing it, but that means I have to put these important things all over the place. And if I'm not planning to use this background light and navbar, I really should just take them out of there so that I can add my own styling. Now, I do need to come along and I need to do something with this hamburger thing. And so I'll do that in just a second, just because I can't see it right now. And the last thing I want to do is I just want to add a tiny little margin around each of these items. And I want to add it to the whole thing. And what this does is it's the first value is for the top and bottom, and then the next value is for the left and the right. So it just means that when my items are out like this, it just provides a little bit of space. And the other thing I want to do in a minute is I want to do it so that they all go to the left hand side when it's or the right hand side. And then I also want to do something when I hover. So I'm going to copy all of this because it's going to be kind of similar code. And then instead here, I'm going to put my hover. And I'm going to say I still want it to be royal blue, but what I want to happen is I want the font weight to change to bold when I hover over it. I think the letter spacing is all good. I'm pretty happy with all of that. Margin's the same. So there we go. It just creates that kind of change as we hover over it, which I think is just, just quite nice. Looks quite good. Okay, and then the only other thing I want to do is for my Navbar brand, which is that bit where you see my name, I just want to change this so that the font size is just a little bit bigger, and I'm going to also add some letter spacing. So I'm going to make this 1.3 rem, and the letter spacing is going to be 1 pixel. Just spaces out a little bit, as you can see, and I don't like the fact that I need to change the styling on Navbar brand as well. There's none, so yeah, I'd have to kind of go in and do that. We'll leave it as it is for the moment, it's fine. Okay, cool. So another thing that I need to change, which I haven't got on this code right now, is that at the moment my navigation bar isn't, I guess, sort of like sticking to the top. So I also want to change this so that it expands from a medium size. What happens if I put it as small? Never actually tried that. Oh yeah, it's just a little bit too squashed together. So from a medium size onwards, and I also want to make it sticky to the top. And this is going to allow it to stay there as we scroll down, which is why I made it white as well, because otherwise it looks a bit funny if it's, see-through, etc. And then the only other thing that I want to do is I want to change, do I want to change anything in terms of, no, the collapse is all the same. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that right now. I think everything's roughly where I want it to be, so that's all good. And the rest, yep, cool. Okay, so just having a quick check through if there's anything we kind of missed out. And one of the things when I expanded it is that our cards are still not doing what they should do. So I just want to see what's happening, that they're not lining up the way that they're meant to be lining. So it's this particular section, this kind of skills section that we have, and we should be justify content center. And that should be working. So just going to have a little pause. Let me just see exactly what's different or why it's not working. I don't think there's anything I've missed, but basically what we're seeing right now is that when this is expanded, these should be kind of, basically they should be looking like this, which is zoomed in. So that's why it looks a little bit extra, but they should be doing the same thing where they're just laid out. And right now they're not doing that. So I just want to see exactly what the problem is. Okay, guys, so I wasn't actually looking at the right section. The reason it's not working is because we haven't actually told it to. So justify content, and I'm going to do around, so it changes the amount of space around it. It's very similar to between. There we go. Awesome. So there isn't a huge amount more that I'm going to show you right now. I think I'm going to finish there. This is all of the main kind of things. Now, this is just a very much kind of an overview of a way to put it together. And, there's some ideas of how you could use stuff. And really what I hope that people have taken away is how to use rows and divs effectively and how to copy and amend stuff from Bootstrap. Because even without huge amounts of programming knowledge, as long as you take it slowly and you don't change too much too quickly, it's pretty simple. But it is really understanding about how to lay that content out. And so it really helps for you to just, before you do a page, I would draw it out. I never ever do anything without designing it on paper first. And then I'm able to actually take my time and I'm able to draw it out and make sure that I know exactly how many rows and columns I need before I get too far into it. So I hope that this has been useful. I hope that you're able to follow along, and I'll include the source code or the link to it on GitHub in this final video so that now you can actually go along and code along and obviously check it against the working code. Thanks so much, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.